I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. I've known Blake Gaylord for over 16 years now, and I've had the honor to practice with him for the past year and a half. Just to tell you a little bit about Blake, Blake was in the Merchant Marine Academy, where he spent his time traveling around all the countries that Mark Natterbaugh went to. Blake entered the Army as a lieutenant and left 5 years later as a captain. He served in the Coalition Forces land component in command in Kuwait, where Blake had the unique experience of negotiating and contracting local services with warlords. So we figured that did a good job preparing him for dealing with condemning authorities. Blake is also an avid spearfisher. He's actually a professional spearfisher. And more recently, he is now a licensed alligator hunter. Blake is a graduate of Stetson University and is going to be speaking today on the issue of tort or taking. So please join me in welcoming Blake Gaylord.
Thank you, Paul. In addition to those things, I also realize I'm the only thing standing between all of you and the reception out there or the Tampa traffic. So I'll do my best to make this informative and also succinct. When I was getting ready for this, I came across a story, and it was a story about a wealthy man who felt like his son had didn't understand the benefits that his lifestyle gave him. So he took his son out to the country, and they spent a couple days in the country, and the father made sure he got to see everything and how people out there lived. And when they got back, he said to his son, he said, "Well, what'd you learn from our trip?" And the son said, "Well, Dad, I learned that we only have one dog, and everyone out there had lots of dogs. That we have a fence behind our yard, and they have fields that go on forever. I learned that we have a pool, but they have a river that they can swim in. And I learned that we have lanterns in our garden, but they have stars at night." So the father was just blown away. And to put the icing on the cake, the son said, "Dad, I guess I never realized how poor we were." And so that's a story, but it's about perspective. And so this topic that I'm going to talk about, a tort or a taking, is going to depend a lot on your perspective. And I know that we have in the room today, we have lawyers, we have people that work in real estate departments, and we have everybody from all different sides. And so I just ask that I'm going to give you one perspective, but if you could listen, and I hope that it's educational for you. But as you can see here, it depends on how you look at it. And I'm still not quite sure which way those people are doing that picture. I looked at it a bunch of times. I think the people in the background, though, I think it's the second one. Some model scenarios. These are just some pictures. The bottom one there, I think, is in Pasco County. But these are just some ideas. The actual model scenarios, what you'll notice about all of these is they have to do with physical invasions for a temporary, a finite period of time. And that's what all of these model scenarios have in common. In fact, I think we've, at least in our practice, have encountered cases dealing with all of these in the last, since I've been there, which isn't very long. So it comes up frequently. So the first question to come up with when you're dealing with the tort or taking is, the tort that we're talking about is trespass. And so the question is, how do you define trespass? And I've never been accused of being a great legal mind, but I knew what trespass was when I was like 4 years old. It's the most intuitive area of the law that I could even think of. It's basically unwarranted injury. And so I got into researching the legal foundations of trespassing. This will be one of them. And this would be another one. This is someone that's a little bit more knowledgeable of trespassing. And but at its core, it's trespassing is unwarranted entry onto someone else's property. This is another one right here. Pretty good one. Pretty good one. I kind of got into this part. There's civil trespass, and then there is criminal trespass. And obviously, I'm talking about comparing with the taking. We're talking about civil trespass. And you'll see in your materials you have the actual elements of what trespassing is. For civil trespass, there's not really a benefit to civil trespass because really all you do is you prove someone came on your property. And if there's no damages, then you get court costs and $1 for nominal damages for them coming on your property. So it's really a very poor cause of action in the civil context. This is you might question the theology actually of this one right here, but I thought that was a good one. We'll just go through these. There's not that many. I'm a pit bull owner, so this is my favorite. My dog sits in the yard and just waits for somebody to come in someday. So, this is another one. I guess this would really be true for Raiders. There's another trespassing joke that how do you keep a University of Georgia graduate off your porch? You pay him for the pizza. Yeah. So those are trespassing jokes. Now the real question is what this is really about is what's the taking. And you've got really two defined areas of law. One is the trespassing, which is really not a great civil cause of action. The other is the taking. And where this comes up is, if you see at the top of your materials, there was a case, Hendler versus U.S. And the scenario I posed to you, and I'll keep coming back to in this presentation, is where does a government employee stopping on a piece of private property to eat a sandwich for lunch, and on one hand, and then the government using that piece of property to park cars in over and over, or vehicles or equipment over and over, at what point does that change from a trespass into an actual taking, an actual appropriation? So that's what I'm going to try to explore with you over the next couple minutes. This is definitely a taking. This is a taking and an unfortunate picture of that woman. Now, the actual definition of a taking, I'd like to point out just the different parts that you see it entering on a private property for more than a momentary period, and under the warrant or color of legal authority, devoting it to public use. I think it's important that it's entering. That's where you get the comparison